And seems like we're live everywhere. All right, excellent. All right, I'll go ahead and record just as a backup as well, just in case. You never know with these things. All right, excellent. Greetings, everybody. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing great. Thank you again for joining me. Yeah, it's pushing an end. This will be my last live session, last driving beyond borders recording. And I just want to first of all begin by saying thank you to everyone who has been a part of this journey since we started this earlier this year. It's been a blessing. Just coming and having this conversation with us every Thursday, just talking through how we can thrive as Africans here in the diaspora, African immigrants, at different stages in our journey. So thank you for um, riding with me since we started. I'm excited for what next year holds. Um, but let's close this out with a bang. All right. So today I'll be talking about reflecting and planning. New year, new goals. Is the topic. Reflecting and planning, new year, new goals. As we're wrapping up 2025, 2026 is upon us. It's just going to be like a sleep and wake up and we need a new year. That's how it works. All right. So, um, Ian, welcome. If you're joining on LinkedIn, welcome. If you're joining on YouTube, you are welcome as well. Thank you for uh, being here. Now, again, why these conversations, right? Why do I want to spend? If you notice the trend of my topics this past week, it's really been working along the realities that we have to deal with as people who have life here that we have to cater for and expectations outside of here back home. Um, and that brings a specific kind of pressure that you have to be here to experience or to understand, right? It is not easy navigating the dual life that we have to navigate, right? We spend our time, especially when you're here, it's almost like the expectations are different as an immigrant. The weights, the burdens, the things you have to cater for are different because it's not just about you; it's about everybody else who you have to kind of be that bridge for. And so there's a kind of pressure that we feel. And so we often spend our years looking back, at home. Did I do enough? Everything. It's not just about you. It's about everybody who is dependent on you. It's like we have a larger pool of people. Did I achieve enough? Um, did I accomplish enough? Did I meet the expectations enough? And there's just this weight that the end of the year kind of brings as people begin to think on how their year has been. But today I really uh, um, I want us to pause and really look at ourselves, right? Look inwards. And my goal today is to really move from accidental growth to more intentional design, right? Where we're not just to make resolutions anymore. We're past that. It's more about the roadmap. Resolutions will fail where there's no clear roadmap to accomplish them. And so I want to start talking about that. That's the key part of what I'm trying to drive home today, right? Resolutions without the roadmap, without a clear strategy, is going to lead to another year of broken hearts and unmet expectations, right? And again, with the level of expectations we have and we carry, we can afford to just navigate or go through the year without a game plan, right? So that's what I want to talk about. All right. I want to introduce a concept I've called the audit over the review, right? And that's, again, this time of year, people are looking at how the year has been. I've been getting this different platforms. I got it on LinkedIn, YouTube, different platforms send you my year in review, what you've done, you've been connected with these people, I mean, you basically numbers and data and stats to kind of quantify how your year has been and what you've done, or haven't done, and all of that. And so there's a lot of reviewing going on. Um, and in review, there's the tendency to focus on how you feel, or how it leads to feelings rather than, okay, man, this is a good year, or I got this done, or this happened and this did not happen. This good thing happened. This bad thing happened, and it leads to, man. It begins to affect how you feel about the year. And so I want you to look beyond what you did, um, and really focus on how you felt. All right. And again, how did the things you did, what did that make you feel? What did that stir up in you? Because that's taking us somewhere. Um, again, for everyone in the chat, and the thing, what was your biggest win this year that had nothing to do with money? Right? What was your biggest non-monetary win this year? So I don't want to hear about your salary increases. Those are nice. Those are important. Those are very, very necessary. But I guess what did you do with that increase in or that extra profit? So those non-monetary, wins. I want us to talk about that, right? What activities or commitments drained you? That's the next one. What are the things that drained you and which ones fueled you? All right, let me know if you're watching this on YouTube live or replay. Which events, which activities that you were involved in drained you, spirit, soul, and body, right? And which ones excited you, which ones fueled you, were you excited? So I want to know your biggest wins, non-monetary biggest wins. Um, what activities, what commitments drained you this year, and which ones fueled you? All right. All right. Another audit question. Did your financial support back home feel like a burden or a blessing? I feel like I know the answer to this question for a lot of you. Did your financial support back home, so the help you are offering back home, did it feel like a burden or a blessing? Right. Again, the reason why I bring this up is that we've had previous conversations around this, where I was talking about the dual budgets, that we have to navigate your life and bills here in the US and um, life and bills back home, things that you're responsible for. How did you feel like you managed that well? Did it feel like stress, or was it something you had under control? Right. And the reason why we have to do this audit, beyond just the review, and the few good aspects of this is how the year went, is you need to fix the mistakes of this year so you don't carry them to next year. Right? Whatever you were doing that didn't serve you, whatever you did that didn't lead to the desired outcomes, and maybe I could have done better, then you need to have a play to fix those things. Um, if not, you will carry them into next year. You can't repeat and do the same thing and expect different outcomes. That is not how it works. And so it's super important that we, again, as we reflect and as we rejoice and as we navigate the joys of the season and celebrate the wins of the year and have this gratitude mindset that we've been, you know, dancing and swimming in over the last few weeks. It's important to be very, very strategic in auditing the events of the year. Again, not just review, but auditing and looking at what did I do well, what could I do better, what are the lessons, what do I need to keep doing, what do I need to stop doing, and adjust, especially where you made mistakes, especially where you made missteps. You need to fix that, and going into the new year, right? So when we start planning as we go into the new year, and again, now that you've taken time, you should pause and take time to do this audit. Now we go into goal setting, right? Uh, um, and I want to take a three-dimensional approach. Okay, so we don't just want to again do resolutions. Um, Stats show 80% of food drop those by February. So um, resolutions are great. I like them. I like at least having something to say. This is what I'm planning to do. It's resolutions are just fancy names for goals. So it's more the reason why people have, it's the way it is a lot of time is on whims and then it's on emotions and not necessarily with a plan, or there's no strategy behind most resolutions, and so that's where the disconnect is. But I think everybody should have something they're working towards. So I'm not against resolutions. I'm just saying let's move beyond that, right? Let's move beyond the having resolutions, having um, goals, having this emotional goals, and if let's make sure now we're accomplishing them, right? We want to be able to say at the end of the year, at the end of 2026, this is what I did, and this is how I, got things done, because I made changes. All right. So the first dimension in goal setting is the personal foundation, right? And that's focusing on your health and spirit. Okay. This has to be your priority. It is for me, right? I was thinking to myself, next year I need to take quarterly, just day off to myself, mental health, sanity days. I get the 6 days, use them. Um, all right, you get 6 days at work, you're an entrepreneur, give yourself one. Um, because if you break down, the mission stops. If anything happens to you, if you break down, if you fall sick, if any of the things where your physical body cannot function, all the goals, resolutions, dreams is on pause until you are back on your feet. So the health of your physical body, the health of your mind, the health of your spirit. That's total concept. That total man concept is super important, right? And you need to start asking yourself, what is the one habit that ensures you stay physically and mentally strong in the coming year, especially navigating the challenges of living if you're new in the country or just being an immigrant. Again, we deal with these things. I don't think it ever comes to a place where we don't, or not constantly being reminded that we were immigrants. It doesn't. I don't think it ever stops. The climes that we live in, if you are from where I'm from, um, then there's very specific, direct pressures that's coming with just declarations by the government and um, just challenges, right? That it makes it look like, hey, what's my place here again? So how do I stay strong through all of the, whether it's political noise, just life happening? How do I make sure that I'm staying mentally strong? How do I make sure that my spirit man is robust and is healthy? If a person of faith, what things am I putting in place to ensure that I am in constant communication and I'm constantly in touch with God, with my spirit man, that I'm growing spiritually, that I'm making all the strides, because again, your spirit man is strong. That's what drives your physical outcomes. Um, and so making sure you're spiritually sound, robust, and strong, you're mentally strong, right? How am I develop my mental? How am I making sure that it's catered for? I'm not under stress and anxiety, and that lead to all the other dangerous things that come with that. Again, you have to have a play, right? So, what is one habit, right, that ensures you stay physically and mentally strong in 2026? That was the question I asked. I reiterating that question. What is one habit that is to ensure that you stay physically strong? If you need to enroll in the gym and commit to it and put measures in place to hold yourself accountable, do that. So don't just enroll in the gym. People do that all the time. Gyms make the most in membership at the beginning of the year. So that's not bad. Don't just be the one who drops out in April or in February. Right. So how do I ensure that I will hold myself accountable to keep showing up with this? Or you want to go on that kind of program? What measures are you putting in place to ensure that there's accountability built into it? That physical health is important. Mental health can be overstated. Spiritual health, non-negotiable. Right. So that's the first dimension in your goal setting, is looking at that side of things, right? Beyond the physical. Physical health, physical body. The second dimension is the career/financial strategy, right? That dimension, the career slash financial leap, your business, your career, your job, and all of that. How do I grow it? Okay, the reason you have to start thinking of going beyond just what is the norm right now is, if you work a job there's just a level of lack of control that you might have. I don't want to say uncertainty, because then that breeds fear, and I don't want to speak from a place of fear or any of that. But it's important to, beyond your primary income source, whether it's your job, whether it's your business, if anything shifts in that, are you going to be fine for a season? Right? If there is a cutoff in supply. If that salary is lost, if that income source is lost, are you good? If you're a business person and then you have one primary channel through which business comes to you, if anything happens to that, what happens next? And so that's one. You should be, again, we looked at the way this year went and people, the job market up and ups and downs, and then, non-profits, I'm in that space, being a non-profit leader, a lot of people and organizations shut down because funding sources got cut. DEI initiatives got shut down by the government. People trying to make sure they still get federal dollars and everything have to shut down DEI programs that was serving a lot of non-profit organizations, and people had to pivot on the fly, right? So, how do I adjust, and especially in a dynamic space like we live in today, how do I ensure that I am not caught off guard by an event, political, economic, whatever it is, job loss, or whatever that is. Um, so that's one piece. Now the other part is, uh, how do I grow, right? If for a business is adding maybe revenue sources, business sources, how do I make that happen? For you as a professional, maybe it's not about losing your job. Maybe it's how do I get promoted? What steps do I need to take? You know, for you, it might be what skill do I need to learn that will elevate me to the next level, that will open up the doors to the next opportunity for me. For some, it might be if your family savings. Okay, I need to start putting away a certain amount of money every month to ensure that I have a cushion, whether it's for a project, whether it's for rainy day funds, whatever it is. But you have to, again, this is something that we can workshop in depth, and spend hours doing, but you have to take the time, you have to take those hours to do it, and look at your money, where it's coming, how it's going, especially if you are stressed about money this year. Uh, those bills are not going to reduce. Or maybe that can be part of the conversation is how do I cut back on the things that I'm spending my money on so I can keep more, so I can save more, so I can invest some, right? If you feel like you're not investing at all, then what do I need to do to start bringing out some of this money and putting in some investment? If you are someone who is a car accident away from being broke, um, how do I change that? Right? What do I need to adjust in my lifestyle? Do I need to make lifestyle changes? Do I need to shift that and start looking at maybe I need to move and not live in the place I live and live somewhere else to start saving on some money? So there are certain these are conversations you have to have with yourself based on your situation. Again, there are so many scenarios that we can workshop around. And this is something you're going to we can spend hours and hours on if we decided to start going in depth into it. But the key is you have to have a plan, a strategy for your money, um, this coming year, right? Your 6 month emergency fund. Again, Dave Ramsey and a lot of people use this as a benchmark, a cushion. It's not 6 months for your income. It's what you can live on for 6 months, just in case anything happens. It's super important. Again, I've seen this year, especially, has shown me just a lot of people I know why it's important to have this. Um, what does that look like? Where do I need to improve? What do I need to start working towards? How do I expand income and revenue sources for my business? Do I need a side hustle, to go with my job if you are able to afford one, or if you have the boundary to take on more to bring in more income? How do I start, saving more? What adjustments do I need lifestyle to save more? So some people might not be able to take on a side hustle because your life is full. Like I have 3 kids. I have a wife. My 3 kids are 5, 7, and 9. They'll be 6, 8, and 10 next year. This is activities. They're in karate. They're in maths. They're in they're in piano. They're in school. There's homework. So outside of doing my day job and running the nonprofit and running my for-profit, I don't have any side hustle bandwidth, as it were, right? So side hustle might not be for somebody in my situation, but for somebody else, it might just be what you need to up that income and start saving towards it. So for me, it might be exploring, well, how do we get more business? How do I expand my uh, um, customer, base and where we get business from? How do I add more products to what I already offer so that I can increase my potential for income? How do I make more partnerships, and collaborations that will increase the inflow of potential clients? How do we reach more people? How do we connect with other people who have the audience to promote the mission at the African Brand Collective? These, so I have to explore the options within the realm that I can control. All right. So we've talked about the personal one, your health and spirit, personal foundation. We've talked about the dimension number two, that's the career and financial dimension. The third dimension is the family and community, and that's your legacy slash connection dimension. Family and community. How will you show up for your family? How will you show up for the people that you care about, people that love you, your close friends? How will you show up for them here in the United States and back home, right? In a way that is sustainable and empowering. It is so important. You have to be intentional about this. I am doing this for myself, right? I'm thinking one of the things I already started thinking about is I want to spend more time with my siblings. I'm blessed to still have, you know, grown up with all of my siblings. We're all uh, um, pushing close to, pushing our 40s. I'm turning 40 next year, and then all of us we're all like merged in age like that. All five of us are very close. So in the next few years, all of us will be turning 40. And it's a blessing that we are all still very close, still like each other. I would plan to keep it that way. But at this stage, with life happening and families growing and people getting married and having their own kids and all of that, it's easy to drift away and get busy in our own cocoons because we do have our thing going on. I want to be more intentional about making sure that I'm connected to that bond. I want to make sure that I'm still blessed to have both my parents. I have my parents in law. I want to make sure I'm intentional about growing those relationships, uh, or being immersed in those relationships and making sure I'm getting the fruits of it and I'm being a blessing to them and I'm still partaking of the blessings that come from having those people in your life. I want to spend more time with my brothers, with my sisters. I want to call my sister back home a little more. I also talk to her husband a little more. I don't think I've done as much of that as I would like. So there's those personal goals. I have some, close friends that I want to have retreats with and have more conversations with, more empowering conversations, um, and not have it be accidental. Like I want to, those are personal. I'm sharing my own personal goals now, from a family and community. I'm thinking of ways to better serve AIM and the people within this African Brand Collective community, and even my students at NSTAR. How do I make sure that it's not just transactional? And, like right now, it's not, we do care about them and we do our best to ensure their success. But can I do more? In what ways can I do it without burning out, right? Without, in a sustainable way, in a sustainable way, how do I show up for my people and that I care about? Okay. So it's important to look at all of that. Um, the for some it's sending money more consistently, a fixed amount, and you're sending that. For some, it's making that call once a month, and that's enough. Right? For some, it's scheduling quarterly hangouts. Right? If I want my kids to be closer to their cousins, it's not going to happen by accident. I have to make sure that we are planning those getaways, we're planning those visits. Um, so it's super important that we are intentional about this dimension as well. So my recommendation as we tie all these three dimensions together, whether on the personal foundation side, on the financial side, or on the family and connection and legacy side of things, is don't set too many goals. Right? Set one big goal for each dimension, right? Because especially if you are the age where I am and will have all these things going on, focus is going to be your superpower, right? Just leveraging all of your energy and putting them into one thing is going to be what makes it, like, not extending yourself too much in too many places and pulling all of that together and just knocking one out of the park. So on the spiritual side, on the mental health side, one goal. right? Whether it's I'm going to, if you're a person of faith, I am going to spend time in prayer every day, 30 minutes a day, personal devotion. That might be the goal. If you're already doing that, what's the one you go? Okay, I am going to do a retreat. On the mental health side, what are you going to do? I already said I want to do once a quarter, take a day to myself and just declutter my mind, right? Take a mental health day every quarter for myself. Nobody, just me. I have never done a personal just me vacation ever in my life. I'm turning 40 next year. Getting too old for this rubbish. I'm going to take time off just by myself. Um, I need to cut this one. I'll cut this part out from my reference it. All right, but you get so have one goal. Um, on the career side of things, what is one goal? So if it's I'm going to add a new program to a new source of income, if it's a promotion that you need to work towards, if it's a new skill that will advance, if it's saving a certain amount of money, the rule of one, right? And if you knock that one out of the park very early, then you come back and set another one. You can review these things every quarter and see where you are and see again, this should be fluid. It should be written in pencil. Um, you know, and so rule of one big goal, it has to be big, right? You have a whole year. You can't be doing taking small steps or shooting for small things. We don't do that. All right. So one thing and then focusing on that for every dimension, focusing on the one goal. All right. So it's going to be how we operate. Okay. Now, it's knowledge is not lacking in our generation. A lot of things I've said today probably are not new to some of you listening and watching this. Knowledge without action is just a hobby. And so I want you to take one tiny step, towards one of these goals today. Within the next 72 hours. So you have 3 days. You need to take an action towards one of these goals. All right. I need you to start looking at don't just this is my last one this year. I'm going to be active in different spaces on social and doing different things. And maybe I'll be talking about this lightly. You probably see replays and things like that. But I need you to sit down and begin this reflection process, this audit process, and begin to write down your one thing for each dimension, right? But let's start taking action. What are things that you are removing? What are things that have worked? What are things that have not? What are things that you are totally never going to do again because it wasted your time? And what are some things like you have to take time to go through this process? Um, in that way, the goals that you set for yourself for the new year will not be blind resolutions. They will not be just bold declarations. They will be actually backed by strategy. So when you show up and say, "This is what I'm going to be working on what I'm going to be accomplishing this year," it's not an emotional declaration. It is a strategy based decision and conversation that this is how I'm going to get this done. All right. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn, I need you to put one in the comment, and describes your focus for the new year. Give me one word that will describe your focus for the new year. All right. Again, thriving beyond borders, as I wrap this up, it's not about surviving. It's not just about surviving in a new land. It's about thriving. It's about flourishing. Okay. And that's what this is about. We were moving from survival to thriving. We're moving from, how do I get my daily bread? And we're moving beyond that. This is home for most of us now. How do we ensure that we make the most of our current situation? How do we make the most of our new home? All right. So that's my spiel. Again, thank you all so much for riding with me this year. I'm excited to continue this journey next year. The more address more critical things and share hopefully provide more value to the community and continue to grow with all of you. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you, God keeping us in 2026. Until then, keep driving beyond borders. God bless you.